sick of spending hours trying to edit your videos? This video is different because it's going to show you how to edit your videos in a matter of minutes using a tool called Descript. It doesn't matter if you have zero editing experience. This tool is so easy to use that you can follow along with this lesson and have your video edited before you finish your cup of coffee. So if you don't have a cup of coffee, make sure to go grab one right now and then join me back here because we're gonna jump into my computer and get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is actually get a Descript account. So come on to descript.com and I'm gonna leave the link for you below this video as well for you to check out. But then you're gonna just come in and sign up for an account. So if I come into pricing, I just want to give you a quick overview of what the different plans include. So you can get started for free on their free account which includes 1 hour per month, which is all you're going to need to get started creating your first video. Okay. So you would just come in here, hit get started and sign up. Then you can, as you kind of get used to using Descript and you want to use it for more videos, you can always upgrade into their creator or their pro account. So once you actually sign up for an account, it's going to ask you to download their app. And that is actually what I use to edit all of my videos is their Descript app. So let's come over into my app here so I can show you what this looks like. Now you can edit on their browser as well, but I just like to use the app because it makes things a lot more simple. It sits on my desktop, easy to open, easy to manage all your projects. So when you first open the app, this is what it's going to look like. Now your screen will be blank because you won't have any current projects in there already. But once you start creating projects like I have, you'll see that there's a big list of projects here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up into the top right-hand corner and we're gonna hit new. And you're going to see that there are some different options here for what kind of video project you want to create. You can create a video project, an audio project, a quick recording, or a remote recording. So I'm just going to quickly go through what the different options are for these. So a video project is obviously a video editing project. Audio would be for a podcast. If you wanted to edit and record all of your podcasts inside of Descript, that is completely possible. A quick record is for you to quickly record something on your screen, or if you want to send something to a client to review or to a team member. It kind of takes place of Loom, which is another quick recording, screen recording application. Finally, the last option here is remote recording, which allows you to actually create a Zoom-like room with another person and record all together. So similar to StreamYard or Zoom or Riverside, there's a lot of different competitors when it comes to something like this, but it allows you to create video recorded podcasts or anything like that, where there's two people on screen and it's recording both of you at the same time. So there are a lot of features within Descript. Now we're not going to cover all three of these today. We're going to cover the video project section, but I did want you to be aware of those other options. So let's go into video project and open this up to show you how to get started. So this is what the dashboard is going to look like once you start a new video project. Now I'm going to add a file in here. So you're going to see that it says add file, start recording. Those are kind of the two options to get information into this project. So I'm going to say add a file. So once the media has been added, what it's going to do is it's automatically going to start transcribing your video file. So then this will pop up, will come up, and it'll ask you if you would like to attach a speaker name. So I can just add my name in here. And what's really cool about this is that you can actually add multiple speakers. So if you have two different people inside of your video, you could add each speaker's name so that you knew who was speaking. Perfect. So then I'm going to hit done here. And it's going to start to transcribe the video for me. Okay, so now that the video is completely transcribed, I want to talk a little bit about this dashboard. So here you're going to see the transcription of the video itself, which looks a lot like a Google document. And we're going to go over exactly how to edit it like a Google Doc in a second here. Then on right beside that, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of these little thumbnail. And what this is it's a scene. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about scenes in a second here, but I just want to give you a bird's eye view about the entire platform first before we get into the nitty gritty. And then over here, you're going to see the actual video file itself. So what the actual video is going to look like when you export it as a final project. And then over here, finally on the far right hand side is your toolbar. So all the different things that you can do with the video itself. And we'll go through that in detail in a bit here as well. Finally, the last thing I want you to pay attention to is the timeline at the very, very bottom here. So when you first import a file, this will actually be hidden and you'll have to hit show timeline to be able to see it. And the reason that I like to be able to have my timeline shown is that it's going to show you the audio dips in here that make it a little bit easier to edit once you've done your first run through using the document tool, okay? So let's get into my process for actually editing. So the very first thing I do once I import the file is I actually will let the tool itself quickly get rid of any mistakes or spaces for me automatically. And the way that you do that is you actually come up to the very top where it says actions. You can click this and it gives you a bunch of different options here. And this is really where I think the magic of Descript comes into play and why it allows you to edit your videos so quickly, right? Why it allows you to edit your videos in 20 minutes or less is that it's using AI to get rid of a lot of these things that used to take you a long time before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up into remove filler words first, and this is going to get rid of any of the ums or the pauses or anything that you really don't want in there. And you can see that it's highlighting here where I'm doing those things. So all I'm going to say is hit remove all, and it's going to get rid of those for me. Now, this is just the introduction actually to this video that I'm recording right now. And so it's not very long of video footage, but if you had a 15, 20, 30 minute long video footage, there would be a lot more mistakes in there that it would be pulling out for you. The next thing I want to do is come back to the hourglass up here, and you can come down and you can say shorten word gaps. And this is another one that I always use right at the beginning because it's going to get rid of any of the word gaps where you're taking a long pause, or maybe you were thinking to yourself before regrouping to start filming again, any of those things. And again, on the search results on the right hand side here, you're going to see all of these highlighted spaces that it's going to automatically delete for me, which is going to save me so much time of having to watch the video and cut out any spaces. So I'm just going to again say shorten all. And you'll see that it was a 2 minute and 45 minute video before, and now it's 1 minute and 42. So it just took out a minute of footage for me in the click of a button, which again, if your video footage was 20 minutes long, that's going to save you so much time. So that's the very first thing I do when I'm editing my video inside of Descript is I let those tools work their magic and do half the work for me. Now, at this point, we can actually start going through and editing this like a document. And so I want to show you the different tools that are available to you when you're editing it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top here, and I'm just going to put my cursor right at the beginning, and I'm going to hit play just to show you what the beginning of this video looks like.
Okay, so this is, okay.
All right, so you can tell that I'm obviously just trying to set up my camera, get started here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this beginning portion because this isn't what I want in the video. And once I do that, this toolbar appears at the top, and there's some different options here with the toolbar. You can actually ignore the text. You can do things like bold or italicize. You can also replace the text, which is really cool. So if there was a mistake made and I wanted to replace it with something else, I could actually hit this record button and re-record the video right in Descript to fix that mistake. Same thing goes with audio, which is really, really cool. The other things you can do, if you come over to the more options button here, you can also duplicate to a new composition, which will actually pull that footage into a new smaller project within this project. And if you want to learn how to use new compositions in your video editing, make sure to hit subscribe because I have a video coming out about that very soon. For the purposes of what we're wanting to do is get rid of this text, there are two options. You can either hit ignore, which is going to actually ignore the footage from the video itself, or you could just hit delete, which would actually, if I highlighted this again and just hit the delete key, it would actually just delete it completely. But I'm just going to go back and bring that back. And the reason that I like to ignore everything is because if there's something that I think I want to delete, but then after I do my walkthrough of the video, I realize that I actually did want it as part of the video, you can actually go back and unignore it and bring it back into the video. So that's why I like to use that ignore feature. Once it's ignored, it won't actually export as part of the final video. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to hit play again so you can see now what this looks like once this has been ignored. So I'm just going to come back to the front.
Sick of spending hours trying to edit your videos?
Okay, so now you'll see that there's two spaces at the end of here. So these two dots in the document inside of Descript mean that there is a space or a pause. And so what we want to do is determine if you want to keep that pause in there or not. So again, there's two different options of how you want to edit this. You can either delete it right out of the script itself, and that'll delete it from the timeline as well down here. Or if I go back, what I can do is I can come down to the timeline and hover over here and just drag this right over just like that. So either option works. And this is why I like to have the timeline open, is because sometimes I want a little bit of a pause, but I don't want it to be as long as maybe they had it automatically. And so by using this timeline down here, you can actually control how long of a pause it is, more so than just deleting the dots up here. So play around with both options and see which one you like better. But let's come back to the beginning again and just see what this sounds like now that I got rid of that pause.
Sick of spending hours trying to edit your videos? This video is different because it's going to show you how to edit your videos in a matter of minutes using a tool called Descript.
Perfect. And then again, you're going to see that spacing there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag it all the way over. So you can continue to go through your document just like that and edit it all up. It really doesn't take any time at all. As another great example, if we come in through here, you're going to see right here very easily that I'm repeating myself a couple times, maybe because I messed up on my words or whatever. So what I can do here again is just highlight this, come down, and again, hit that ignore tool and it's done. And we can start right at the sentence we wanted to start at. So that is how you go through and edit all of the pieces within the document itself. Now I want to talk a little bit about scenes, okay? And that is what these thumbnails on the left-hand side here are. And so the reasons you're going to want to use scenes within Descript is because it allows you to break up your project into multiple smaller pieces so that you can apply different effects or different text or different graphics to each of the scenes without it applying to the entire timeline. So right now, everything is all in one scene. So if I applied a piece of music or a picture or anything like that, it would apply it to the entire scene. But if I only wanted, one word to be highlighted or one sentence to be highlighted, I would want to create a scene for that so that it wouldn't apply to the entire timeline. So as an example, I'm going to come through here and I'm going to show you why this is important. So let's say that I want to come through and I want to actually highlight this sentence right here and I want to add captions to it. So what I would do is I'd hover over where I want to break out the scene and I'd come over here where this slash is, and you can see when I hover over it, it says add scene. So I'd want to add the scene here, and what it's doing is it's breaking it up into another piece. But remember, I said I only want this sentence to have an effect applied to it. So what I'm going to do again is come over to the end of the sentence and we're going to add another scene because we want this end part to be a separate scene from the one sentence I want to have. So I'm going to hover my cursor here, again, hit add scene. So now what's happened is this number 2 here is just this sentence. And so now I could add special effects to just this sentence or just this scene. So to add any special effects or anything that you'd want, you can come into the scene itself. So you can either click on number 2 here or add your cursor to the front. And you can hit this plus button right here and it's going to give you a bunch of different options. So you could add files, meaning you could upload different images from your computer. You could add recordings, you could add captions, you could add text, shapes, GIFs, stickers. There is so many different options here that you can do. But for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add captions. And so now you'll see that when I do this, it's only applying the captions to this one scene instead of the entire video. So when I come over here, back to the front, and I hit play, you're going to see this.
Templates and systems make things go so much faster within your business. And
there you go. So you can see that it only applied it to that one specific sentence that I wanted it to apply to. Now, once you add something like this and you click on it in the bottom timeline here, you can actually make any adjustments on the right-hand side toolbar. And so here are the different options you can do. So you can change the font. So maybe I want to change it to Lato and I want to change the color here. So I could change it to, maybe I want to do my green. You can also click on this custom here right beside it, and it's going to bring up some different options in terms of the different colors and things that you wanted highlighted. So you could have a different word for the active word here. You could make it pink if you wanted to. You could add a background to it. So maybe I wanted it all to have a black background. So you can really customize all of the different features within Descript according to your branding. So let's say I leave it like that. That's exactly how we want it. I want to show you a couple different other things that you can add into Descript as well. So let's come back up into the front here, and let's say that this beginning portion here, I want in its own scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to here, and I'm again going to hit add scene, and it's going to make this first part its own scene that I can then add things to again. So again, you can come over, hit this plus button to add some different things in, or the same options are also at the very top here. So you can come to the top here and hover over these different things. This first one is media. So I could add files from my computer. So let's say you wanted to add your logo on here, or maybe you wanted to add a screen grab of your program or anything like that. You can add files straight from your computer into here. The other options are you can use video straight in Descript. So they have certain B-roll and things that you could add into your video right in Descript. So for example, I could actually search for editing videos, because that's what I'm talking about in this video. And let's see what kind of options they have. So here's all the free B-roll that I could add into my project. So maybe I'm like, this one looks good, let's use this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just drag it into this scene, and it'll apply it again, just to this scene instead of to the entire thing. Now, once it's actually in the timeline, you can make adjustments in the timeline as well as to where exactly in that scene you want it to be. So again, I could come in here and I could drag it to exactly the portion that I wanted it to be. So let's say I only wanted it to show up for like 5 seconds. Now within that scene, and you can see it again highlighted in the script as well, you'll be able to see where it is in both the timeline and the script. So if I come back to the beginning here and hit play, we can see what this looks like now.
Sick of spending hours trying to edit your videos? This video is different because it's going to show you how to edit your video.
So you can see that it was just applied to that one little section. Now, if we come back into here again, I want to just go back through the different options in here. So if we hit media again at the top, we covered the videos. The other things you can add are GIFs, which can be really fun as well. So you can come in here and search, right, and add some fun GIFs in here. You can also search for different images that you might want to add. And also you can search for different audio as background music or sound effects if you wanted to add those throughout your video. Now, the other options along the top here that you can add are record. So again, if you wanted to add an extra piece of recording to your video, you could do that without having to go back to your camera, set up your equipment, record, and then upload it to your computer and all of that. You can actually record something and add it into your script right inside of Descript, which saves you so much time, especially when it comes to things like screen recordings. This is an amazing tool. So if I hit this, you can see that I've now appeared at the bottom left-hand corner, and I could actually screen record myself right inside of here, and it would plop it into the script. The next option is text. So again, you can come and add different text into here. So we already covered captions, right? But let's say I wanted to create a title, right, for the video. So I said editing in Descript, and I wanted this to pop up on the screen at the very beginning of the video. And so you'll see I just started typing that in, and again, we can come to the right hand side here and make some changes. So again, this is way too big, so let's pull it down to like an 80. Maybe I want there to be a background in here, so we can change the color of it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pull this apart because I want this to maybe be longer, just like that. And again, in the timeline, you can see it's applied it to that very first scene. But let's say I only want it to be at the beginning before we come into this B-roll here. There we go, perfect. So now you'll see when I hit play,
Sick of spending hours trying to...
it's showing up right there. And let's make it a little bit shorter because it's the title screen. And then the other thing you can do is if you hover over it in the timeline itself, you'll see these little dots on the both corners. So if you drag this, it's actually going to fade it in and it's going to fade it out. So I'm going to drag those over, and now when I hit play,
Sick of spending hours,
you'll see that it popped in, faded in, and then faded out really, really quickly. So you could play around with how long you wanted each of those pieces to be, but really the world is your oyster in terms of what you can add into your video footage using this toolbar at the top here. The last two at the top here are different shapes that you could add in. So you could add in a progress bar, a waveform, lines, arrows, rectangles, ellipses, like all these different things, which these two here can get really fun when we talk about repurposed videos for your other social media platforms, which if you want to learn how to do that using Descript, make sure again you hit that subscribe button because next week's video is talking all about that. And then the last one here is if you click this is templates. And you'll see when I click it that I have all these different brand templates set up that I can actually rinse and repeat in every single one of my videos. And if you want to learn how to use templates, make sure to check out my playlist all about Descript, and we're going to cover exactly how to use that in a future video. Okay, so now you know what you can add into your videos. You understand how to edit this video just like you would a Google document. Let's talk a little bit about the video itself and the different options you have in terms of settings on the right-hand side here. So when you actually click on your video right here, all these different options will pop up in the toolbar. And so you can do some really fun things here with this. So you can actually change the volume, so you can make it louder or quieter if you want to. You can change the speed. So if you had a section of your video that you want to speed up, you could do that. So you could do like 10 times and make it really, really fast. But I'm just going to come back to 1x for now. You can also do things like affect the sound of your video. And this is a really cool feature inside of Descript as well. If you click Studio Sound, it's going to automatically apply sound enhancing to your video automatically. And so this is really great if you're not using a super professional microphone or anything like that. It's going to make it instantly better with a click of a button. Same thing with ducking. So what ducking is in audio is sometimes when your voice will go up and then down. And so it's very hard for the listener to listen to. What ducking is going to do is it's going to smooth that out when you turn it on. The other things you can do are you can change the opacity, so you can make it darker or lighter here. If you come to layout, you can also change the layout or the perimeters as well. You can put a green screen on, which is really neat as well if you wanted to have a customized background or anything like that in the back. The other thing is animation. So you can add zoom in, spins, zoom in pans, all these different animations to different scenes of your video as well. Another really neat thing that I like about Descript is you can actually use this apply to all scenes button to make sure that everything is cohesive across all the different scenes that you create. So what I always recommend doing is doing your first draft of going through and editing first before you break out anything into scenes. So that way everything stays really consistent. But let's say you created captions in scene 2, but then you wanted, captions to be across the whole thing. That's where you could come back and add that apply to all scenes button, okay? The other thing here is if you come into effects, there's this little plus button here. And so if you click this plus button, it's going to give you a bunch of extra options. And one that I really, really like is this color adjustment. So if you click on this and then actually come hover over the effects settings, it's going to give you a bunch of different options in terms of editing what your video looks like. So this can be really good if, say, the lighting in your video isn't exactly what you want. You can come in here and add some brightness if you want. You can add some contrast. So it just allows you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the look of your footage itself. Okay, finally, the last thing that I want to show you when it comes to your video is once you've clicked on your video here, you're going to see this little option in the corner here. And this is the aspect ratio of your video. And why this is important is if you click on it, it actually allows you to change the aspect of your video. So you could do it square, you could do it portrait, and then again, back to the landscape. So this is really, really good when it comes to repurposing your content. And again, there's a whole other video that I have that shows you exactly how to repurpose your long form videos into smaller short form videos. But I wanted to make sure you saw that because that is one of the main key pieces when it comes to repurposing your videos.
Okay, hopefully at this point you have either been following along with me throughout this lesson and have a pretty much edited video, or you've watched this lesson in full and are ready to go and conquer your edit. Either way, let me know what you think of this tool in the comments below.
If you have been part of my world for any point in time, you know how much I love templates. Templates and systems make things go so much faster within your business. So if you want to learn how to set up templates inside of Descript to make this editing process go by even faster for yourself, make sure to check out this video right here because I'm breaking it all down.